Hi, welcome to Easy Breezy Math, where the math makes sense. It's not just a bunch of numbers. In this video on my whiteboard today, what we're going to do is find the equation of a line between 2 points. With this particular problem, there are some skills that you want to have and some understanding that you want to have first is going to help you memorize the steps that you need to do in order to solve the problem. We don't want to memorize formulas. We want to memorize what makes sense about it and ways to understand it. So the first thing we want to understand is that we have rise over run. Rise over run means the y values are rising up and down. The run values are going back and forth, left and right, the x and y values. When we write at the rate of change, it's always going to be rise on top, run on the bottom. Another thing we want to remember is the concept for finding the distance between 2 points. For instance, the distance between 1 and 5. In order to find that, I subtract. I go 1 minus 5 or 5 minus 1 and just get 4, knowing that it's 4 spaces between them. Once I understand these, now I'm ready to find the rate of change. So let's begin. With my rate of change, I have my 2 points here. My y values are up there. Now I can go 3 minus 5. Those are my y numbers. Then I'm going to go 4 or minus 10 on the bottom. Okay. Now that right there is going to give me negative 2 over negative 6. Or if I reduce this completely, 1/3. Now, before I do the next step, what I want to do is take a look at this and see if I can come up with the actual equation that I would have used to find this rate of change. So we use m for the rate of change or slope. And what did I do? I took the y values and I subtracted them, y sub 1 minus y sub 2, over the x values and subtracted them, x sub 1 minus x sub 2. We're going to use this again for the next step. So the next step, we're using this exact same thing. I already have the equation. What I want to do is write it in a different way. I'm going to multiply both sides by x sub 1 minus x sub 2 to get that off the bottom. And now I have x sub 1 minus x sub 2 equals, and that's going to be times n. That's my slope because I multiplied to that side, equals my y sub 1 minus y sub 2. Now, some people might switch the 1s and the 2s around. That's not a big deal. If you know what you're doing and you practice this enough, that'll be fine. My next step now is to actually use one of these points. I like to use the point that has the smallest numbers. I'm trying to make my life easier. I'm going to use the 4 and the 3. Those are smaller numbers than the 10 and the 5. We're just going to put those numbers in here and here. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the same information. I'm creating a whole different equation out of it. I found my slope. My slope is right here, or my rate of change. It's 1/3. So now I have 1 over 3 times x minus what's my x value here? 4. What's my y value here? The same point. That y value is going to be the 3. So I'll put it right there. Many times they'll ask us to do this in standard form. Today we'll take it all the way to standard form, but let's see what I can do from here. Now, this step is one that you're going to need to practice a lot. Okay. Just because you see your teacher do this doesn't mean you're an expert at it. What you need to do is be practicing this stuff daily, all the time, lots of practice. One of the mistakes that we make in math is we'll do this once or twice and we'll think, oh, we covered that. My students can do it. It's no problem. But it can be a problem because when we distribute this 1/3, many times people will get that wrong, especially if we got negative numbers there. Okay. So I'll have equals my y minus 3 on this side. And now I am going through working through the equation. I'll go ahead and add the 3 to the other side. Remember, I do opposites to both things to the other side. So we want to practice that. What is 3 plus a negative 4 over 3? Excuse me. So here, that's 1 and 1/3. And if I want the difference between that and 3, I would notice that's going to be 1 and 2/3. 1 and 2/3 equals y. I moved the 3 over. And now I'm just going to rewrite this. So it looks like slope-intercept formula. And it will be 1/3 x plus 1 and 2/3. And now I have my equation. There's my equation. I've found it in slope-intercept formula. Why do we call it slope-intercept formula? Well, because I have my slope here and my y-intercept right there, which is a fraction, and that's okay. So now many times they're going to want you to take this and put it in standard form. If we put this in standard form, what we would have to do then, well, trying to fit that in right here, is we'd have to move the 1/3 over. So I have a negative 1/3 x plus y equals 1 2/3. I don't like fractions in standard form, so I'm going to multiply everything by 3. We're going to go ahead and do a -3. That way we'll get rid of that negative out there too. But that first number, we want it to be positive. So I'm going to multiply everything by -3. That gives me an x minus 3. And then what would this one be? 1 2/3 times -3. We'll put this over 1. We'll change this to an improper fraction. So we'll have 5/3 times -3 over 1, which in fact will give me a -15 divided by 3, a -5. So here is my equation in standard form. All right. I hope we were able to follow all that. That's how we can do it. And remember, you want to understand the math. There's always reasons why we need this formula sometimes to do certain problems, and sometimes we need it in standard form as well. So those are the things we want to be able to do. Remember, we practice these individual skills. You're going to need to practice this, multiplying by fractions before you begin these problems. All right, that concludes this video for Easy Breezy Math. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.